Welcome to this lesson on the evolution of money. In this class, we'll explore how money has evolved over thousands of years, starting with bartering and moving through coins, paper money, and fiat currency to the digital currencies we use today. By the end of this lesson, you'll understand why cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin are seen as the next big step in this evolution. Let's dive in. Long before money ever existed, people relied on bartering to trade. Bartering is the direct exchange of goods and services. For example, a farmer might trade their wheat with a fisherman in exchange for fish, or a shoemaker might repair someone's shoes in exchange for milk or eggs. Bartering worked well in small communities where people knew each other, but it had big problems. The first was that it was hard to find someone who had what you needed and wanted what you had. This is called the double coincidence of wants. The second is that some items were hard to divide or transport. Imagine trying to trade a live cow for small items like vegetables. Because of these challenges, people began looking for items that everyone could agree had a value, which led to the rise of commodity money. Commodity money is money made up of items that have value on their own. People started using things like cows or livestock, which were valuable for food and farming, then salt, which was rare and important for preserving food, or beads or shells, which were used as jewelry and decorations. These items solved some of the problems of bartering because they were already widely accepted and easier to trade. But commodity money still had issues. For example, carrying around cows or sacks of salt wasn't very convenient for large-scale trade. People needed something smaller, durable, and easier to transport, which led to the use of precious metals. Gold and silver became popular forms of money because they were durable, meaning they didn't wear out, they were divisible, so they could be split into smaller amounts, and they were portable, making them easier to carry than sacks of grain or livestock. In the beginning, people weighed out pieces of gold or silver for each transaction, but this was time-consuming and required trust. To make things easier, governments started minting coins, standardized pieces of metal that had a set weight and value. Coins made trade more efficient and trustworthy because people didn't have to weigh them every single time. Imagine a busy marketplace in ancient Greece or Rome. Merchants are trading spices, fabrics, and tools using coins made of gold or silver. Coins made it easy to carry money and gave people confidence in its value because it was backed by the government. But coins also had a drawback. They were heavy to transport in large amounts, and sometimes governments reduced the amount of precious metal in coins, which made them less valuable, and this was an issue that was seen especially in ancient Rome towards the later years. Carrying large amounts of coins was a hassle, so people began using paper money. Paper money first appeared in China during the Tang Dynasty over 1,000 years ago. Here's how it worked. People would deposit their gold or silver with a trusted institution like a bank. In return, they received a paper note that said they could claim their gold or silver anytime. These notes became a convenient way to pay because they were light, easy to carry, and widely accepted. Over time, people trusted the paper notes so much that they rarely exchanged them for the gold or silver. Eventually, paper money became its own form of currency. Today, most of the money we use is fiat money. Fiat money is money that has value because the government says it does, not because it's backed by a physical item like gold or silver. Examples include the US dollar, the euro, and the yen. Governments and central banks control fiat money, deciding how much to print and how to manage its value. Fiat money has many advantages. It's lightweight, it's easy to transport, and it gives governments flexibility to manage the economy. But it also has risks. The first is inflation. If too much money is printed, its value can go down. And the second is dependence on trust. People must trust the government and central banks to maintain the value of the currency. Picture someone paying for groceries with paper money or a credit card. That money is fiat money. It isn't backed by gold or silver, but people trust it because the government guarantees its value. While fiat money is convenient, it has many limitations, and this is where digital currencies come into the picture. The internet changed how we think about money. In the late 20th century, digital payments became a common way to pay for goods and services. Credit cards allowed people to spend money without carrying cash. Online banking let users transfer money instantly from one account to another. And then payment apps like PayPal and Venmo made sending money as easy as sending a text message. These systems made payments faster and more convenient, but they still rely on banks and payment processors to approve and record transactions. This means they're not fully independent, and users often pay fees for these services. So digital currencies are the next step in the evolution of money. These are forms of money that exist only in electronic form. There are two main types. The first is a centralized digital currency, like the balance in your online bank account, controlled by banks or governments. And then the second is decentralized digital currencies. This is like Bitcoin or Ethereum, which operate without a central authority. Cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin are unique because they don't rely on banks or governments. Instead, they use a technology called blockchain to record transactions and keep the system secure. Now, imagine sending money to a friend using a digital currency like Bitcoin. Instead of using a bank or payment app, the transaction goes directly from you to them. Cryptocurrencies use blockchain technology, which is like a giant digital notebook that records every transaction securely and transparently. Cryptocurrencies solve some of the problems of traditional money. The first is that they're decentralized. They don't rely on banks or governments, so they work independently. The second is that they're secure. Transactions are recorded on the blockchain and can't be altered. And the third is that they're inflation resistant. Many cryptocurrencies, like Bitcoin, have a limited supply, which helps protect their value. These features make cryptocurrencies a major innovation in the evolution of money. Here's why many people believe cryptocurrencies are the future of money. The first is that it's global. You can send money anywhere in the world instantly. The second are the low fees. Transactions are often cheaper than using banks or payment apps. And the third is ownership. You control your funds directly without needing a bank. And finally, it's the privacy element. Some cryptocurrencies offer higher levels of privacy than traditional money. These benefits make cryptocurrencies an exciting development in how we trade, save, and invest. Now, picture a world where all the money is digital. People use cryptocurrencies to buy groceries, pay rent, and send money across borders instantly. While this future isn't here just yet, cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin are paving the way for a new era in finance. From bartering goods to using coins, paper money, and digital payments, money has continually evolved to meet the needs of society. Today, cryptocurrencies represent the next big step in this journey.